What was that? What was that noise, Bradford? What was that?
I know. I was just like reveling in your McFarland. I'm very excited for the McFarland.
Is that
Energy
reveling or something else?
Arena.
There was something going on there. Yeah.
No. It was the McFarland Energy Celtics Arena. I look forward to that when that's going to be built.
Wasabi Court. Awesome. Wasabi Court at McFarland Energy Arena is exactly what it could be.
By the way, I know who you guys. I love listening driving into Fenway today. You guys talk about the ownership stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm all in on the Bezos. I'm all in on Bezos for the sole reason is that I have the email for his fiance. I ran the marathon with his fiance, so I am all in on the Bezos. Yes, yeah, Lauren Sanchez. Yep, Lauren Sanchez.
Yeah, she was the other woman there in that marriage. I think is kind of how that was going.
I think they really like each other.
The first one's giving away all his money, right?
Yeah,
what's her name?
Madison something. Is that right?
She's just here. Everyone take it. I don't want
it. Yeah. No, I mean she's doing what Wick did with Daddy's money. Same idea. So let me ask you, Bradford, when it comes to John Henry. What'd you make of him refusing to even comment on his team to Michael Silverman and the Boston Globe, where basically he went on and on about FSG and on about the PGA Tour. Silverman asked him to comment on the team, and he said, plenty of people do that. I'm not going to comment. I'm paraphrasing, but that was the gist of it. Your thoughts?
I know. I love that. Plenty of people do it. Plenty of people talk about it.
Yeah, Rob Bradford talks about him all the time. I don't need to.
I don't know. I don't own the team, though, but I think that he's just dug in on this. It's different levels of being dug in on not really addressing or commenting on the Red Sox, right? You don't have the spring training dynamic anymore, which would have been an easy 20 minutes and get that out of the way. You have what was the last time he talked? Didn't he do? Oh, he did the Financial Times thing. So he got stung by the Financial Times, and he's like, oh, everyone's taking it out of context. Why should I talk at all? And now he's doing this. Now he's like Mike Silverman, rightfully so, tries to ask him about the Red Sox. It's like, no, I'm good. I mean, there's no. For him, I think the takeaway from John Henry's point of view is that I just feel like in his lot in life, in his position in life, he's like, nah, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm moving on to golf. Everyone can rip me. It is what it is. I'm just going to say they took me out of context. I just don't think, like, it's his stage of his life. He's like, it's a priority for him.
Must be nice. We're idiots, and we don't really understand these fan graphs numbers all the time. So when we're looking at the Red Sox sitting here with a 48%, according to Fangraphs, chance of making the playoffs, does that take into account, say, the return of Tristan Casas? Is that predictive in any way with some of these kind of quality issues rather than just the quantity of what somebody's adding?
Mego, I would love to tell you the formula of this thing,
Does
but
anyone
I don't know. The people at Fangraphs know, evidently, but it was always, and this, of course, was the odds that Chaim Bloom was using when he said underdog, right, last year, and a lot of people used. And if you go back to a year ago, the Red Sox odds weren't what they are now, but they weren't that far off. It's just I hate it. I hate the odds. I hate that whole thing.
Probabilities.
That you're making decisions. Yeah, that you're making decisions because we're seeing exactly what the problem is with it. Where you win a couple games, the odds go up. You lose a couple games, the odds go down. The Phillies, for instance, if you go back to a year ago where the Phillies were, their odds probably weren't all that different than where the Red Sox are, but they were probably worse. And they were, if you asked me who was going to win the World Series in the NLCS, I would have said the Phillies. I just think it's a flawed thing, and for any executive to sort of even look at it for 2 seconds, I don't think it's worthy. And Alex Cora said it with you guys, I think. Alex Cora said, no, I'm good. I'm good with the eye test. I'm paraphrasing, but I think that's what he meant.
If this is another season where we see the trade deadline come and go, Bradfo, you've said a few times that this roster's young and kind of almost ignorant of certain things that a veteran roster would care about. If the trade deadline comes and goes and they don't make any major additions, could that maybe work in their favor in some ways? Like you've said that about injuries, you've said that about other things. Why wouldn't that be the same thing about a lackluster trade deadline?
So you're saying that if they don't make a move, that the roster would be pretty much okay with it?
I'm saying in the past, yeah, Xander Bogaerts and other people have sort of, Alex Cora, other people have mouthed off about it. If that happens this year, you've sort of used the naivete of this team as a positive. Wouldn't that be a positive here too?
I do think it's different than other years, other dynamics where, you go back to 2021 I'm sorry. Well, 2021 and 2022, where people in that clubhouse were on pins and needles in 2022, waiting to see if they're going to get traded. 2021 to see who they're going to get. So I don't think that this group is on pins and needles about who they're going to get, because honestly, what they're going to get is probably a starting pitcher who can get you to the finish line, like say a Michael Lorenzen, something like that, and a right-handed hitter, middle infielder. But so I
wait. I want to jump in. Do you actually think they're going to add stuff like that?
No, I think absolutely could add stuff like. If they're going to add, that's what they're going to add.
No, right. If they're going to, I'm saying, do you think they're actually? I don't. I would love ads like that. I don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah, I do. Right now, if you ask me, I do.
Great.
I do because
that's good news.
Yeah, because I do because number one, you certainly established all of a sudden you can beat good teams. You're in a good spot in the standings. Obviously, a much better spot than you were before. And then, sorry, there's like a locomotive going by right now.
It's okay.
But it's one of these things where
John Henry's traveling by a steam coach.
John Henry. Oh, yeah. If I get taken out, if you know that John Henry sent a train to hit me. But I think that right now, as we sit here, I don't think there's any question that I think that most people would say you have to buy. You have to go for it because you're in good position. You're playing well. You feel like you can beat teams. Your position on the roster, like as you know what you are, and what you are in this day and age of baseball is a team that can actually not only get to the postseason, but do damage. Did we say that 2 months ago? No. But the way that they have evolved, I think that that's how you have to look at it. And I think that that's how they are looking at it right now. But I say all of that, and you hear Craig Breslow not making commitment, or you hear the report saying they haven't committed. I understand that too, because things can go south, things can go the other way. Someone can get hurt. But if you're at this point leading into the trade down line for that last week, then absolutely the two spots that I mentioned, it wouldn't cost Marcelo Meyer and Kyle Teel and Roman Anthony.
I'm not arguing with you. I just was skeptical they would even do something like that. Let me ask you if this is the kind of thing that gets John Henry's attention. And I don't know if you have any information or if you could guess at this, but the Sunday night ratings are very good for Red Sox and Yankees. It's a good baseball game. It was a fast-moving baseball game. Their highest ratings on Sunday Night Baseball in 2.5 years. Sunday Night Baseball is also picking up a Sunday night game against the Dodgers for the Red Sox and a Sunday night game for the Yankees, or the Red Sox against the Yankees, July 21st and July 28th. Is that the kind of stuff where John Henry looks at it and goes, oh, okay, there's interest ticking up in my team? Like, does he pay attention to that level of progress or ratings or, I don't know, information about his team?
No. Does John Henry? No, I don't think he dives that deep into it. And the other part about that is that the ESPN, even when the Red Sox are sort of in the middle ground and not even that great, they get better ratings for the Red Sox than they do a lot of the good teams. And that's the problem with that ESPN Flex thing, because you're like, hey, the Royals are really good, but they're not going to see the light of day because they don't get the ratings. The Red Sox always get the ratings. So they're always going to default to the Red Sox and the Yankees. But I will say this, it's things like that. It's things like, showing interest. I mean, ultimately what it is John Henry is a guy who is playing. We know he loves the odds, right? 20-1, 30-1, whatever it is. Well, I'm no blackjack dealer, but I know this. I know that if you're in this spot with this team, with this standings, with this day and age of baseball, with this roster, the way that they're playing, with this pitching, the odds to me tell me it's a good bet to add even a little bit. It's a good bet for business to do that, and it's not going to hurt you going forward. That is the best way, not only to run the baseball team, but to run the business of the Boston Red Sox.
Bradford, do you get a sense of how Cora feels about managing a team that's as young as this one? Because outwardly, he sounded like it's something that he's actually enjoyed a lot, and wondering if that has any bearing on his future with the team when so much seems to be riding on these prospects coming up to the major leagues and making a huge impact there.
I think that, number one, he loves it. I think he loves it because he's been able to mold these guys, and you've seen it. Like, they've improved. You give a lot of credit to the manager. You give a lot of credit to the coaching staff. He's been able to mold this team like he hasn't been able to mold any other team. And I think that any manager, any coach is going to like that. So what does this mean for him going forward? I think that, number one, he sees that there's foundational players where you don't have to say, no, the foundational players are these three guys in Portland. They're coming up. No, you actually have foundational players now in Jaron Duran and Tanner Houck and Don Raphael and these guys, Tristan Casas. So he knows that too. Now, the other conversation, Mego, is a contract in Alex Cora's future. That is, I think that what we're dealing with now is one thing. What we're dealing with 3 months from now, by the way, his contract doesn't run out until the end of October, not the end of the regular season. Then that is, we're going to have to loop back and see where everything is, with the relationship with Breslow, where the team is at, everything. Because I've seen in the last 3 months of a baseball season, a lot of things turn in terms of relationships.
Bradford, Rafael Devers skipping the All-Star game with this shoulder inflammation. Should we be worried about that?
No, I mean, I think it's smart because the All-Star game is for a lot of guys, it's really, really important. For Rafael Devers, I don't think it's that important at this point in time. You should be a little wary because anytime you have a shoulder injury, anytime you have an injury to your best player or one of your best players, it's a red flag. It's like Bogarts with his wrist. I mean, he had this wrist thing, and he messed it up shaking a guy's hand in the airport coming back from the All-Star game. So I don't know, maybe someone would pat him on the shoulder in Texas. So who knows? But I don't think it's a huge concern right now, the fact that he's still playing. But, I mean, it's the All-Star game for some guys, and Ortiz was this way, right? I mean, Ortiz was like, really? I got to go to another All-Star game, really? But Devers is sort of almost at that level.
So, real quick before we let you go, you said something, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you said something like you've seen relationships turn over the last 3 months, or how did you phrase that? Is that in a good or a bad direction with Cora and Breslow?
No, I think right now as you sit here it's in a good direction, but my point is that, and I've said this all along, is that we can guess what's going to happen to Alex Cora by the end of the year. But, when we still haven't gone through a trade deadline. In other words, I've used this example, and it's not apples to apples, but Cora and Chaim Bloom at this time last year was probably a lot better than he was a month later after the deadline. So things can go the other way. The extreme example of this was Manny Ramirez, where, believe me, in that year, 2008, it was Manny was the happiest guy in the world. Next thing you know, he's pushing Jack McCormick and calling out John Henry and getting traded a month later. I'm not saying that's Alex Cora, but all I'm saying is this, is that we have to take every little bit of this season, step by step by step, get to the end, because as he pointed out to you guys, he's not negotiating, get to the end of the year, and then see where everything's at.
Okay. He is Rob Bradford, WEEI. Baseball Isn't Boring. Check him out there. And check him out Tuesdays here on Jones and Mego with Arcand at 4:30 every Tuesday. Rob, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much.